Good morning everyone, I'm currently reviewing the Black Amber Forge backpack, but I don't have a video for this week. However, I received a package from Orbitkey with a new item, so I thought I'd bring you along with this unboxing and quick look video. Okay, before we start the quick look, or while we are doing the unboxing, let's talk about what the Orbitkey Nest actually is. Because to be quite honest, when I heard about this product, I wasn't really sure about what it actually is. So the Orbitkey Nest is basically a hard shell case where you can store all of your everyday essentials that you need for work. You can store all of those items like pen, notebook, charger, potentially your mouse and stuff like that inside this case. And when you leave your home office desk, just close up the Nest, bring it to work, put the Nest on your office desk and have everything that you usually need for work, like charger, as I mentioned, or your pens and notebooks. Have everything inside there, open the Nest up and then you can see very well organized and at a glance everything that you need. Furthermore, if you happen to have a phone with wireless charging, you can connect a cable, a USB cable, to the Nest and then just wirelessly charge your phone by putting your phone on the, I think it's leather, on the leather cradle at the top of the Nest, where you can also store your wallet and your keys, for instance. So, and once you're done with work, you basically just close up the Nest, throw the Nest back into your bag and go home. And have at home, if you need to work again, just put the Nest on your home office desk and then you see everything well again. So in other words, this is basically just for all of the items that you usually just throw into your bag. But with this you can easily have everything in one place, keep it organized and just have also a very clutter-free desk because everything is already organized inside this neatly Nest. Furthermore, I have seen some offices where you don't actually have like a dedicated workplace or a dedicated desk and you basically move around the office environment, and for that this is actually perfect. Or for freelancers like me who actually never have like a proper own desk, this is also great. But this is actually one of the things that I'm currently worrying about because I have not a real clue what to put into this Nest, but I will try to figure it out next. So for my personal use case, there are two scenarios or two sets of things that I could put into the Orbitkey Nest. First of all, it's my regular everyday carry, or not everyday carry, but work related essentials. I always carry my own keyboard, my own mouse, which is the Logitech MX Master. It's still the first version, and all of the cables that are necessary for the keyboard and the mouse to be connected to the computer. Then there is a small USB hub which has the receiver for the Logitech MX Master. That's the first set of items that I could think of putting into the Nest. Obviously not the keyboard itself, but everything else that belongs to this setup. The first thing that I noticed is that obviously the Logitech MX Master is a fairly big, or rather high or thick mouse. That mouse does not fit into the Nest. The Nest is not really high, so it doesn't really have the capacity or the space for, let's say higher items. Also, my MacBook Pro charger does not fit properly into this case. So all that is left to put into this are the cables and the USB hub basically. And also my small little Samsung SSD. But to be quite honest, for that use case, this whole case is a little bit much. All of those cables and the USB hub and stuff like that would actually fit better in a soft pouch or soft case. So for that scenario, I don't really like using this. The next use case or the next set of items that I could potentially think of putting into the Orbitkey Nest is my extended EDC. If you don't know what my extended EDC is, there is a separate video in the info tab above. All of these items are basically, as the name suggests, extended EDC, EDC for being everyday carry, are all of the items that are not necessarily needed in my pockets but are good to have in my backpack. So stuff like my phone charger, a SIM tool, maybe a small flashlight, a small little multi-tool, a separate SD card, small items like that. All of these items are in the Drake fold-in pouch, which is a fairly soft pouch, so the pouch adapts perfectly to all of those items. So all of these items are fairly small and fit perfectly into the Orbitkey Nest. And as you can see, I can organize them pretty well. However, as mentioned, these are just items that are good to have and don't necessarily need to be on my desk. Maybe my phone charger or maybe some of the cables, but they aren't really important or don't need to be on the desk. So for that scenario, I don't think I would need the Orbitkey Nest. So after having tested these two sets of specific items in my backpack, I figured that the best use case would be to pick out simple items out of both of these sets. So the items that I chose are my USB-C hub, my Samsung SSD, a pen and a notebook, and some cables. So those would be the items that I would need to regularly have access to on my desk. However, I feel like I don't really need this type of organization on my desk, or rather these items on my desk that often. So I would prefer to just keep them in my backpack or in any other soft pouch. But the Orbitkey Nest is a hard shell case, so it does occupy some space in your bag, and I feel like that this case has a very specific niche of people in mind. Especially considering the height and seeing some of the Kickstarter photos, I know that you can fit an Apple mouse, which is fairly slim, maybe the Apple AirPods, headphones in general that are small, and yeah, stuff like that, that is small and that you could lose in your backpack, but also that is very easy to lose on a desk. For me, I don't have all those small items. My mouse is fairly big. I don't use small headphones, or when I'm editing I have big headphones. Those don't get lost that easily. And while I am a freelance editor who switches workplaces fairly often, usually I set up my desk and my workplace and then I stay there for 2 days or 2 weeks. So I don't need to move around that much. So even if this isn't for me in terms of being something that I move around the workplace, because my specific items are either too big or not that necessarily important to grab quickly, let's say it that way, I feel like that this would be perfect for me when I'm traveling and I need to stay in a hotel. So when I'm in the hotel, I usually take out my phone, wallet, keys out of my pocket, have my watch on the nightstand and stuff like that. And there's an easy potential to lose all of that stuff, or rather to forget that stuff. In my head, I think that this would be great to have with you when you are in the hotel, and then every night when you sleep you put everything that you need, like your phone, wallet, keys and maybe your watch and stuff like that. Have all of that in that case instead of having all of those items on the nightstand in the hotel, so that there isn't that much of a big potential to forget stuff in the hotel room, especially those small items. And I think for that, or at least for me, that would be a great use case for the Orbitkey Nest. That being said, if you have a lot of small items or electric gadgets like your AirPods or small earplugs, maybe a small or slim or rather not that high mouse, or you need to carry a lot of cables and you want a neatly organized place for all of those items and you like to have that place to be on your desk instead of like rummaging around your backpack, then the Orbitkey Nest is awesome. Furthermore, if you have a phone with wireless charging, then this is also maybe not necessarily a no-brainer, but this is a really cool thing to have on your desk, because then actually can just put that thing on your desk, have all of those important items that I mentioned before right at hand, and then you can just put your phone on top of the wireless charger. So I feel like this is a cool idea, but personally I would say think really hard about how you want to use the Orbitkey Nest, and especially measure out all of the items that you have. And maybe if you're on the fence, go to the Orbitkey Kickstarter page, see the measurements of the Orbitkey Nest, and then cut out a piece of paper with that size or approximate size, and then lay out all of your items on that paper just to see if all of those items would fit into the nest, and then also measure the height of all of these items to see if you then can actually close the nest. It is a great product, and I really like the build quality and the overall very unique and creative idea of this product. And as I mentioned, my personal items are just way too big, or way too high, that is. And if you have the proper items and you think really hard about what you want to put into this, then I can recommend the Orbitkey Nest. So that was the really fast unboxing and quick look of the Orbitkey Nest. Let me know in the comment section below, how would you use the Nest? And if you have any other questions, also comment below. And if you enjoyed this video, click the like button. And please feel free to subscribe to my channel and click that little bell icon so you won't miss the next videos. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for sticking around. Just as a quick reminder, or for those of you who don't know yet, on the 29th of February there will be a subscriber and Carryology meetup. So if you happen to be in Hamburg or somewhere in Germany close by, then yeah, maybe you can come around to the meetup where we talk about bags, nerd out about bags. Hopefully everyone brings their favorite bag or backpack, and then we can just talk about it. The team or the designers of Heimplanet will do a little small keynote. I will do a little keynote about what my perfect bag, or what kind of features my perfect bag should have. So maybe you are in Hamburg, or you would like to come around on the 29th of February and nerd out with all of the rest of us about bags and backpacks. But if you can't make it, I hope to see you in the next videos. Thank you very much.